How often do you slam into the end of the month and you're like, ooh, I'm not really sure what just happened, but it happened. I've definitely been there at times too. My name is Elizabeth Struce, and what I found is that how I was showing up for myself at the beginning of the month and at the end of the month did not pan out to how I was showing up for myself in the middle. And quite frankly, it's all that juicy middle bits that was fucking up my end game. So if I haven't told you already, I'm Elizabeth Struce, and I believe this page might be one of the most important indicators of how you've shown up for the month. So you'll notice that I have these beautiful little squares, and we're going to talk about how to fill them in. Those don't come on your page. You get to fill them as you need to. So you've got to start with your goals. So you're going to fill in this side from your last month, and you're going to say, my goals for this month were service was 6,000, total guests were 42. None of these are making sense. Promise you, they're all made up numbers. Retail is 2,000, pre-book is 90%, average ticket is, I don't know, 150. I wanted to hit 3 social media a week, so that would have been 12 social media posts, and I worked a total of 12 shifts. Now, keep in mind, my social media post goal was immediately set based on my shifts. For me, that's an easy way to remember. I walk into the building, I set up my day, I boop out a social media post, or I have a planner like Planoly or Plan so that I don't even have to think about it. I just said it once, forget. Whatever works for you, please take this and just run. So you're going to fill out goal, then you're going to come back and you're going to fill out your actual next to it. This is super easy to find in the planner because now you're just going to go back and you're going to look at all of the week. So remember when you were rating your week and you're setting up your next week and you're auditing your time, you're going to go back to those pages. So now you just have 4 things to add instead of every day or the report or whatever. And listen, I have been caught in the wind and up a creek before a mentor meeting with trying to scrounge and find my numbers last minute. If you can, at minimum, do your weeklies, this will make your time condense quite a bit. You will wind up with a better gear of where you are in the middle of the month, because nothing is worse than sliding into this page and being like, I was $10 off my goals. I was 3 people off my goals. Like, those things are things you're going to feel like you can control in the moment. But if you're not setting up intention daily, you're going to totally lose that. So I'll step off my soapbox now. Then once you've got your numbers set up and done, let's see, there we go. We're going to come over to wins. What's been your win this month? What's the thing you're most proud of? And I want to be very clear that I just said what you are most proud of. I don't want what you think your mom would be proud of. I don't want what you think your dog would be proud of. Now that might be a good one. But I want you to really focus. What are you most proud of? And keep in mind, some months are going to be really big, slam dunk. I got this done. I've been working on it for 5 years. And some months it's going to be like, you know what? I showed up consistently. And that's what I did this month. If you go back to my life wheel video, you'll notice like maybe my win for this month is that instead of waking up every morning and focusing on work, I woke up every morning and made breakfast for my family. Whatever the win, you write it down. Quit trying to dismiss the good within you. Just gonna let that sit for a second. All right. Then we're going to talk about what didn't work, and you're just going to pick 2 or 3 words. You know what didn't work. And maybe it's a month you have to dig a little deeper. As you start getting into your career and start getting into the impact you can create and your intentions, the more often what didn't work is going to take a little bit of a deeper dive, because it's like, you know what, I've got most of it to work, but now you really have to figure out what is actually working. Isn't working. Jumped ahead of myself. And then you're going to fill out, what are the 2 things that did work? What are the 2 things that you want to make sure that you repeat? Did you do anything differently this month? Oftentimes, if you have a super huge win, or if you have something that did work that you're really proud of, you're going to find that you know exactly what you did differently this month. And then what are you excited about? I'm going on a family trip, so I might write Mexico. Please keep in mind that what you do out there impacts here. What you do here impacts there. It is not a this or that. It is showing up for both and making sure you separate that time. So that might even mean come to the office, fill out your stuff, and then leave it. So whatever works for you, you do. How'd you do on committed action? I'm going to rewind for a second. In another video, I told you that this is something that stays at home. For me, doing this before anybody can interrupt me is so important because I feel like I have control over my life. Might be a lie I tell myself, I'm okay with that. But if you are somebody that needs to not take this home with you, then don't. Just make sure you're filling it out in whatever space you can do it consistently. Hell, maybe you leave it in your car. What works for you may not work for me. What works for me may not work for you, and that's okay. So how'd you do on your committed actions? CA is just committed actions. How are committed actions different than goals? Well, committed actions are what I am committing to take action on the items for this month. They might support your goals. They might support the things that you are setting up here, but they are not the same thing. And please, for the love of all things above, try not to create a list. When you start creating list upon list upon list, you're actually wasting your time with a list. But Elizabeth, I'm narrowed, whatever, and I need lists. Okay. Side talk. I live in list lane too, but I make sure that I keep one and I keep it where I can see it at all times. All right, what support do you need to be able to hit your committed actions, to hit your goals? I'm going to write that out real quick. And then who do you need it from? Maybe you need it from your bestie. Maybe you need it from your work bestie. Who is it that's going to help you achieve something? Listen, no matter how many people I follow and listen and watch and learn about, they always have someone else in their corner. And if you don't find that you have somebody else in your corner right now, it may be that you aren't that for somebody else. One hand stretches up while one stretches behind you at all times. And if you don't have that yet, maybe that's something you put on your goal list. All right, the next page, what actions are you taking this month? So page 1, we're talking last month. This page, we're going to start talking the next month. So action item 1, 2, and 3. Let's talk about action items versus goals just a little bit further. If you can hit your goals 50% of the time, then you are setting proper stretch goals to be able to get yourself farther. The whole point of setting a goal is that you're stretching yourself to reach it. Goals should not be what you are going to achieve easily, because if you are, let me not say you, I personally have struggled with, if I hit my goals, I am enough. If I hit my goals, I'm doing the things right. Listen, if I can just show up and say I honored those goals and I did these action items, then I'm going to feel way better than if I actually hit them or not. And 9 times out of 10, if I set the same goal 3 or 4 months in a row and I'm not hitting it, I do need to reset my goals so that it does become attainable. If you want to learn more about how to set goals, make sure you watch the SMART video, and that will help you immensely. So I'm going to set up my goals for this month. For service, retail, pre-book, how many people I need to see, and then what my average ticket is. If you don't know how to find your average ticket, you are going to take your service, divide it by the people, and that will be your average ticket. Retail, you can set this goal in 2 different ways. You can set it in items. Do you want to sell 3? Do you want to sell 30? Do you want to sell 40? You can also set it as RTS. If you want to find your retail to service number, you're going to take retail and divide it by service, and that's your percentage. It is whatever makes the most sense of you. And then you're going to fill out the rest of these. I'm going to explode it a little bit just so we can read them. What are you the most proud of? What was the favorite part of this month? Who do you need to say thank you to? I started last year, just as I think of somebody, sending them a message that just says, thank you. This is what difference you made in my life. You might be blown away at the responses you get from people. Where do you need to show up differently, right? This is part of the auditing process that we've been doing all the way through the book. So it's not a surprise to you by the end of the month. What goals did you hit? Did you hit yourself? Did you hit yourself? Let's try this again. Did your self goals get accomplished? Personal, professional, financial, and don't forget to fill in your budget again, because that's at the beginning of this. So you need to go back and say, did I accomplish this, or how close was I? What did you completely miss the mark on, right? We just talked about with goals. It's a case of like, you're not always going to hit them. and that's okay. Who needs to help you with hitting your next set of goals? We talked a little bit about that on the next page, but maybe there's somebody else. Maybe there's somebody you need to add. What will be different in life when you smash these goals? Please take a moment just to vision what you need to be different for this. And what are you looking forward to next month? Is this month the month to check my yearly planner? So remember, every 3 months we go through and we go back to our yearly planners so we can evolve and grow and reset goals so we can make sure that we're on the right path. And then last but not least, rate your month. I hope that more often than not, you have at least a 5-star, if not a 4-star, because the goal of setting intentions and following through with consistency is so that each month feels more and more yours. Well, thanks so much for joining me on this tenacious planner journey. Please leave comments below about how this is helping you and impacting you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, I'm Elizabeth Struess.